What's going on? All thanks for tuning in once again. Let's talk Zhang versus Joyce after the fight. There's a couple of things I want to touch on here. I thought it was the perfect fight for Zhang. He got Joyce at a time where he's, coming off a loss. He's questioning himself, coming into this fight. I thought he'd be a lot more confident than he was, but clearly he wasn't. The first round he came out as I expected him to. I thought, listen, this guy's going to circle to the weak side and he's going to use the jab. He done that successfully. I thought that he won the first round. But as soon as he gets clipped, that second round right at the end of the round, he gets clipped, he goes to the corner. He seems unsure about himself. He changes his game plan completely. Coming into the third, he starts throwing combinations. This is what I said for him to avoid, throwing combinations, having a shootout with Zhang in the first 6 rounds. You just can't do that. You can't do that. Zhang is the more bigger puncher. And not only that, he's a southpaw. Joyce is not used to fighting a southpaw, so in this fight it was just the wrong tactic to use, and we all know that Joyce, he always gets tagged, he always gets hit. He's a guy that's very hittable. He calls himself the juggernaut. He comes forward, tries to break you down. But with Zhang, you have to try in the later rounds, because the fact is that Zhang tends to get tired. Like I said in the Herkovic fight, the back end of the fight, last couple of rounds, some of those rounds he doesn't throw at all. He's throwing a couple of punches and that's it. So my whole theory was that Joyce, if he can survive the 6, then he can start, piling on the pressure against Zhang. At least Zhang would have thrown his best punches. He wouldn't be throwing with as much volume. He wouldn't be, more confident to just keep throwing punches, But Joyce opened himself too early and then got caught from a right hand. That's one of Zhang's best punches. I said this in the pre-fight. The straight left and the sweeping right punch are the punches to look out for, because Joyce was, throwing combinations of his own. He was trying to avoid the big bang, which is the straight left, and he got caught with the sweeping right, which took him out. He got back up from the canvas. This was another thing I wanted to touch on. I thought that count was extremely fast. Although Joyce, he did get on his feet, he still looked like he was a bit wobbly on the legs. But let's just understand that, he was reacting to the count. So the count to him was, by the time he hits the canvas, he's already at 6. He can't hear 1, 2, 3. He's already at 6. He's trying to rush the count. And of course he's going to look like he's shooken up. I'm not trying to take anything away from Zhang. I thought that Zhang was the better fighter. I was expecting him to be the better fighter, especially in the first 6 rounds. I thought Joyce has no chance if he's going to try to land combinations on this guy in the first 6. My whole theory was use the jab like he did in the first round and keep that up until it gets to at least 6, when he can feel Zhang's losing a bit of momentum. Then start piling on the pressure, start landing more punches. But he decided to try to be the bigger man, be the juggernaut, come forward after being clipped, as he did in the past. But he's challenging a guy that punches a lot harder, as well as the unpredictable southpaw punches, where you can't really read the punches, which costed him the fight. It's always the punches you can't see. And there would have been no way that Joyce could have, avoided these punches, because he's coming in there openly throwing combinations, leaving himself wide open, having a shootout basically against a guy that has a bigger punch. So, the knockout I'm going to call it a stoppage. I thought, like I said, he's reacting to the count. I encourage everyone to watch it back. That knockout count was far too fast. I do believe that Zhang would have knocked him out in the 4th round if it had continued, because the fact of the matter is that Joyce just didn't have discipline. He wants to be a juggernaut against a guy that's landing every time. He tries to engage. Zhang's landing harder punches than him. He's losing that shootout. So, I mean, full props to Zhang. I'm not taking anything away from him. I just thought the count was too fast. But at the end of the day, hey, the better man won. Zhang, he does deserve a title shot. I was obviously wrong in this one. I was picking Joyce to win by late stoppage. But I also did say there's a flip side, that if in the first 6, if he starts getting marked early, he loses by knockout, or by stoppage, I should say, and that's exactly what happened. I just thought Joyce would be more disciplined in this fight, knowing that he's putting on weight to take more punches, being able to stand on his feet. I thought he wouldn't be as careless and just throwing combinations against a guy that can line him up, punch him when he wants, and mix up his punches. So great performance from Zhang. That sweeping right hook is definitely a punch to look out for in the future. As well as the straight left. That's my take on it. Great performance from Zhang. Full credit given. Joyce, where does he go from here? I think that he needs to really use his voice here. He could easily say, hey, listen, the count was too fast. He needs to use his voice moving forward. He can't just sit back and waste more time. And I think he should maybe rematch Dubois, or possibly, keep fighting on. Just understand in the future that he can't be a juggernaut against all prospects. There's going to be a guy that punches harder and a guy that has his number. And in this case, that was Zhang. So that's my take. Leave yours. Look forward to the comments. Have a great day. Peace.